All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It's the Urban Conservative Podcast. This Monday night, you know what it is. It's the Charlie Kirk episode. Let's rock.
Welcome to the Urban Conservative Podcast, where we do not believe that avocado toast can save the planet or the world will end, because cars use gasoline. You won't hear that Wi-Fi is a basic human right, or that billionaires are secretly supervillains. Here, we do not believe that electric cars run on hopes and dreams. You also won't hear that anyone who disagrees with us is a fascist, or that socialism will make everyone rich. You won't be gender affirmed or offered any opportunity to share your preferred pronouns. If this causes you any discomfort, please rest assured that we couldn't possibly care less. For everyone else, thank you, and please stand by.
My fellow Americans, it's time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. This is without a doubt the best podcast on the internet. It's about to go down here on the Urban Conservative.
3, 2, 1.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It's time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. Yours truly, Adul Ali. I'm rocking with my twin brother from the same mother, no other, Raheem Soto. And matter of fact, before we get into the Charlie Kirk episode, we got to plug a few things, bro. The screen, man. Plug away, bro.
Well, you already know what it is. Once again, shouts out to everybody you want to check in. Make sure to hit that like, follow, subscribe. But as you all know, we do more than podcast around here. We actually get our hands dirty. We roll up our sleeves. We get involved. And to that end, right now I am running for Suffolk County Legislative District 2. That is the town of Southampton and the town of East Hampton. Well, about 99% of the town of Southampton here on the beautiful South Shore of Suffolk County. We're running to make sure we have a safer, more affordable East End so that our elderly population can stay here comfortably, so that the young people and young families that start out here on the East End can stay here on the East End. And we're making sure that our police officers have everything that they need to continue to save lives and keep our community safe. You can support the campaign. Soto4Suffolk.com is the website. SOTO. 4Suffolk.com is the website. You can see that right there on your screen. Head over there, make a donation, support the campaign. We really appreciate it. Once again, big shouts out to everybody out here on the East End, beautiful Suffolk County. Shouts out to our county executive, Ed Romaine. Killing it out here, bro. He's killing it out here on the East End. But listen, this is a very, very serious episode. We took a little bit of time to do this because of the nature of this heinous, tragic situation. And, it's going to be a pleasure and an honor to debunk, dismiss, get rid of, eradicate this false narrative that this gentleman was, one, a racist, number two, that he hated other people. We are going to do a wonderful job of destroying that false narrative this evening. So buckle up. Hit that share button, get some folks in. We want to know what you think in the conversation. Join us in the comment section and let us know where you're watching from. So, bro, I don't know how you want to kick this off, but let's get to kick it.
So let's kick it off with this, because what we've heard and what we've seen, and let's just be 1,000%. Charlie Kirk, even though we didn't know him personally, we have had direct connection to people that worked with Turning Point. Shouts out to my man Isaiah Payne that works at Turning Point and everybody else involved with Turning Point Action. I wanna play something, bro. My homegirl, you remember Maureen and JD Zumwalt, right?
Yeah, shouts out to them. Big shouts out to them, of course.
So Maureen's daughter had an interaction with Charlie Kirk. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, Maureen's daughter, who goes to ECU, had an interaction with Charlie Kirk. And what I want y'all to see is, because this narrative that he hated people and he was this hateful, spiteful guy, this is somebody we know who is a conservative, whose daughter is clearly has not followed in her path as a conservative Christian. But I want y'all, and we're going to not play this all the way through to not get a strike, but tell me if this is a person, before we deal with this racism thing, is this somebody that comes across as full of hate? Check this out.
Everybody, do me a favor. Please be respectful, okay?
How do you call somebody full of hate when the first thing he
Okay,
does?
so let's do this. Let's do this, right? When you start there, and I have to say this because this is really this divide, because it's happening on my Facebook page, it's happening in other places. The media, the American media, is doing such a divisive, terrible job at creating such discord between Americans. If their job is to sow the seeds of hatred, they are doing well, because they've created a group of people, in my opinion, that are fearful, that are angry, and it is no understanding with these folks. But go ahead.
Hello. So I have a few leading questions before my main one. Because I have to be honest, I don't really know that much about you.
So let's be clear. This is the daughter of a friend of ours, correct?
This is a daughter of a friend of ours
Who happen to be conservative leaning people.
that they are. JD and Maureen are definitely conservative people, and they're praying for
Okay, I
their
want to be
daughter.
clear. So now this is how close to home this hits. Go ahead.
Would you say that you're very religious?
I am religious. However, every one of my political positions is defensible from a non-religious perspective.
Okay, great. So I was under the impression that your beliefs on abortion were stemming from your religious beliefs.
Well, at the core, that is correct, but I can get that it is defensible from using reason and prudence, as I have done the last couple of
Cool. So you're not trying to illegalize abortion based on the Bible.
Well, no, not based on the Bible. My personal conviction comes from the Bible. I want to make abortion illegal because it is the only applicable extension of laws we already and standards we already have in the West. Correct.
So the reason I'm playing this, right, is because this is not somebody who would look at somebody like Maureen's daughter, who is clearly on the bent of someone who is a liberal college student, whatever the case may be. This is not somebody that's full of hatred. This is somebody that, as you can see, and shouts out to Maureen's daughter because she was respectful. Notice she didn't put anything in his mouth already. Like, this is what you're trying to do. She was asking a question from a genuine place. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I wanted to start the show with that, is because this is not somebody who entered into the arena of ideas from a place of hatred. So this idea now, and I think, Rob, part of it is stemming from a statement or conversations that he's had with Black Americans about the crime issue impacting our community, about the fatherlessness issue that impacts Black communities and Black Americans. So how do you want to
jump in
deal
here.
with this?
I gotta jump in
Yeah,
here.
go ahead.
I gotta jump in here because this happened. I put up this post about Charlie Kirk, and on my timeline, somebody
on your
goes, "Well, I know
personal?
yeah, it's on my personal. You don't have to pull it up because I don't want to throw nobody out there like that. But the reality of it is if you go to my page, you'll see it. And the fact of the matter is that, and I'll stick to what I'm saying here. Racism is not proved by accusation, and it requires evidence, right? So the first issue that we run into is that when the narrative is that Charlie Kirk said that Black women can't think for themselves, and you take that little piece of the conversation and you don't provide the words before and after,
Right.
and then you put up a meme that says Charlie Kirk says Black women can't think for themselves, the meme becomes the truth.
Right. Not what
The
he
meme
said the
becomes
30
the
seconds
reality.
before and the 30 seconds after, or the minute before or the minute
So now
after,
check
to
this
put it
out.
into
So
context.
now
Right.
check this out. Check this out. So now I say, well, that's not what he said. I've seen that. That's a meme. And the person follows up with, well, I saw it on video myself, and they put a link of that clip, just the excerpt of him saying that, and then follows up with, when I say, oh, that's taken out of context, and I say, well, if you believe that he's saying all Black women are incapable of thought, then I show you a picture of him dancing and one of his best friends, Candace Owens, who's a clearly Black woman. You then turn around and now she's a coon. And that's kind of the problem, is because we're going to take a Christian, married, successful woman and she's reduced to a coon because you don't like Charlie Kirk or because you need him to be a racist. So now we've demoted a successful, whether I agree with Candace Owens or not, isn't the point. That's not the point, whether I agree with her rhetoric, whether I agree with her position on Israel. That is a successful Christian, married Black woman. And I would think those are the type of Black women we would want to hold in high regard. So the
Right.
fact that she's friends with Charlie Kirk has demoted her to a coon now.
Mm.
And I find that is the product of low information. That means you're so emotionally invested into your hatred that you now will demote a Black woman to being a coon. A coon of all things. Again, Candace Owens is many things. I cannot give her a crown of coon. I cannot give her that.
She is not the well. Look, let's. How would we objectively deal with this narrative for people watching and listening? How would we objectively equip them to deal with that whole narrative that Charlie Kirk was against Black women, other than because obviously he was friends with Candace Owens? Obviously, we can pull up pictures of people we know that were with Charlie Kirk, that met Charlie Kirk, that was at Brexit and Turning Point events together. What do we do to deal with that narrative? What can we pull up? What can we say? What do we do to deal with that narrative for the folks watching, bro?
That what?
That Charlie Kirk was against Black people, that he was somehow a racist. What do we do to deal with that narrative?
I just thought I did that. But
No,
we
I'm.
just
I mean,
reduced
but
her to video footage. Like you can go to our Instagram and see the compilation of him and Candace in the car, him and Candace here, him and other Black people there, and those people now have to be reduced. Now think about what that takes for you. Like, what's the level of hatred you have to have? Unless you have another suggestion, like don't drag it out. Just go ahead with what you got. I don't know what that is.
no. Okay. So are we saying? Because the argument's going to be, you know how this. I'm saying the goalpost gets shifted. Oh well, he could still be a racist and hang out with, because Candace got money, so a racist will hang out with Candace because she's rich, or just
Right.
because you take a picture with somebody doesn't mean you're not racist, and Trump's still a racist and he had a Black girlfriend. Like, so there's that shifting of the goalpost that you still got to deal with.
No, you don't have to deal with it. This is where you have to leave people to their own ignorance, right? So what has to happen is that we also, as we try to be logical and rational with people and try to have constructive dialogue, it takes two people to do that. They say that two people from a distance looking at two people arguing, it's hard to tell who's the fool in the conversation. So
Wow.
at some point, it's foolish because unfortunately, we've gotten to the point where when bullets are flying, bro, there's almost, you gotta almost not have certain conversations with certain types of people because it's a dangerous thing, unfortunately. And think about how sad that is, that we're saying it's dangerous to have a conversation. Like, that's insane that it's dangerous to have a conversation. But there's a demographic of people in the United States that you cannot talk to because their mind is set. Their mind is made up. Everything that they've already gonna think about, everybody's already set in stone. So the idea, like with the young lady that was in your district that was that was harmed and taken out of here very young, there's not implicit, there's a level of callousness that human beings have developed in this country, and it's sad. So, I mean, to stay on topic, when you have somebody like a Charlie Kirk or you have somebody like a Candace Owens, these controversial people, bro, all you can do is put out the information about their talking point, right? And who is this? Who is this clown?
Yeah. So what I'm noticing, right, is this is the type of a person that's celebrating Charlie Kirk situation. It's the extra calorie crew that's mad about him. This is I'm not gonna play the audio just because I don't want us to get the strike, but she's one of the people that are up there saying he needs to burn and this, all kind of ludicrous
And who is
stuff.
she? And who is she?
This is part of a compilation of people like her celebrating the fact that Charlie Kirk got shot. She's celebrating the fact that he got shot. But here's what my thing is: these people look unhinged, bro. Some of these
No,
people
let
on
that play in the background. Let that play in the background.
I'd have to rewind it. But the whole point being is that we've gotten to a point where I think we are accepting the opinions of people who
Pull
are
that video
clearly
back up. Let it run.
mentally challenged. It's a ladies' channel. I'd have to find a whole compilation. But the whole point that I'm trying to make is it's like we taken at a certain point, bro. You you didn't care what the crazy uncle in the back room said. And now it's like because the crazy uncle got a Facebook page and an Instagram, or everybody's opinion is valid. And it's just I think you're right. Like the hatred that's out there, how do we let it surface so crazily?
Well, this is part of this is and again, we have to be clear about this. This is very, very partisan. Okay. There's never been a clear divide between the left and right. There's almost like I consider myself a moderate. I'm a right leaning, I'm a Republican, but I'm a moderate. I don't care about what you want to do as long as it doesn't involve harming anyone else or children. I genuinely don't. I can tolerate whatever it is. You want to be a fur persona with it. I heard this word today. It blew my mind. A fursona.
I heard that today too. I was like a fursona when they were talking
A
about
fursona? Yeah, I was like,
yeah, bruh,
wait,
like
what reality are we in that we can say a furry cult of political activists? What? What?
yeah,
There's
it's
apparently a discord of extremist fur people. Well, what is the we have no decency in America anymore? Like where is it? Like this is but then I think about this, Ali. I think about this all the time. We have maximum liberty, right? We have the
Mm,
maximum amount of liberty. Historically, we have the
where'd you
maximum
go,
amount of liberty, right? You hear me?
bro?
Hello? Yo, I'm
I don't know. I
here.
just lost audio. I can't hear you
No,
anymore.
I'm here. I'm here, bro. I'm here.
Mic check.
Yo, Ali, Ali, I'm here, bro. Oh, looks like we had a little technical difficulty there. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We'll come right back on this episode. Do us a favor, get in the comment section, let us know what your thoughts are. You think Charlie Kirk was a racist? Get in the comment section, let us know. I mean, your thoughts, what you think? Body can
The Urban Conservative is sponsored in part by Gyra Family Farms, providing your family with fresh meat, eggs, poultry, produce, and so much more. Visit gyrafamilyfarm.net to find out about their summer farm camp program, events and classes, and their exclusive Farm Share membership, which will give you 15% off all your purchases. Again, visit gyrafamilyfarm.net to find out more.
All right, bro. Sorry
All right.
about that. We had a little technical glitch. But what were you saying?
I don't know, because we had a technical glitch.
All right. Well, what I was gonna go with next is did you see the student, the Texas Tech chick that was screaming at the Charlie Kirk and got she ended up getting expelled from school?
Well, I think that and I so people are upset about people losing their jobs over their comments about Charlie Kirk, and I think we need to set this narrative straight, right? The fact of the matter, and I brought up maximum liberty for a reason. We have
Okay.
maximum liberty. You're 100% free to say whatever you want to say, whatever words and thoughts that you manifest and combine in that gelatinous mass encased in that skull of yours. You're able to ramble and rifle that off out of your mouth, but you also have to deal with the repercussions. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Third Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, there's no amendment in there that says you don't have to deal with what you said. It says you have free speech. You're free to say whatever you want,
Mm,
but it doesn't say that you're free from the
that's true.
repercussions therein. Agreed?
So let me for those I don't know if I played this whole thing, bro, but it's okay. So let me ask this question because somebody's going to make the argument that free speech is free speech, and I don't got to like that you said free speech. I don't got to like that she's screaming. You see what she's screaming and taunting people, and then you see her in cuffs. But is that
No, no, no.
right?
But that's what I'm saying. You're
Is
free to
that too
say whatever you
severe of
want.
a penalty to get
No,
locked
no,
up for that?
no, that's not what she got locked up for. There's a clip. You see what happens? The clip. You see the clipping? That's not why she got. Right. That's not why she got arrested. Yeah, that's the next thing that we don't know what happened between those two things. So these are the type of videos that mute that, bro. Yeah, let's not do that. So the fact of the matter is that between the time the clip goes off and then the next thing she's in handcuffs, we don't know if she got let out of the handcuffs. We don't know if she got removed from the like. We don't know. So unlike most people, I'm gonna reserve judgment because I don't know. But again, if you, I'm gonna say this to everybody. Everybody, at least in our generation, you've said things to people that had an immediate physical reaction that accompanied it. Right or wrong, Ali? Okay, I guess we lost them again. Well, I don't know about y'all, but I grew up in an era and I grew up in a time where if you said things, you had to be held responsible for the weight of your words and for what you said about people,
True.
especially when they weren't around. Right?
No.
So
That's yeah, we did grow up at a time where you had to be careful. Yo,
no, it
really
wasn't careful what
careful.
you said. It was just like you said that, and whatever happened as a result of you saying that, whether that's your mama or whatever it was, there was a point, and I remember this, that SMD was fighting words.
That is you never invite another man to your Johnson. You're right. That is exactly right. Those are fighting words.
And nobody ever never told you not to say it. It's just like say it at your own risk because you might get punched in the mouth.
So you got and look, here's what my other thing is, right? If you're a teacher or somebody in a position to be around kids, and I don't care what side of the political aisle you're on, if you're celebrating somebody being assassinated, you don't deserve to be teaching kids. You just don't. I'm
Well,
sorry.
here's a dichotomy, if you will, that I find interesting. That the political left will tolerate radical speech from its own people, from its own side, from its own brands like BLM and Antifa, but the opposing side, like Charlie Kirk, is labeled hatred. That's hate speech. Saying that you should, love each other and carry biblical principles and that this is his opinion about LGBTQ issues, that's all hate speech. But saying that conservatives, firebombing Teslas, all of that's acceptable. This whole narrative about when George Floyd died, the difference in the response from the political groups, for me, encapsulates everything you need to know about the current political circumstance. Because
Right.
I've not heard this from one place. I've heard this and seen this on Facebook. The churches are filling up. People are going back to church. And to be honest, and I don't want to speak for Mr. Kirk's family, but I gotta imagine that he's looking down, going, "Well, that's at least a good thing that more and more people are filling up the church." My guy Matt said he never seen as many people in Sunday service as he's seen, and I've seen that all over Facebook. So the fact of the matter is, it's absolutely disgusting. And then look at this. Look at Fetterman. Look at Fetterman. Don't ever compare anyone to Hitler and those kind of extreme things. Now look what happened to Charlie Kirk. I didn't like this guy at first. I didn't like this guy at first.
I didn't either.
I didn't like him. I thought he was a terrible elected official at a local level, right? When you go back and look at it. But he seemed to be a rational Democrat, at least on a lot of issues. I mean, we agree on more issues than we clearly disagree
and
on.
I'll
And
tell
I don't
you
know
what
where that
really
happened
is,
at
bro.
with him.
He's that yellow dog, old school Democrat, bro. Like that's
Correct. That's what that is.
That's really what that is. But the reason I bring that up is because since this thing happened to Charlie Kirk and his family, right? I've been listening to a lot of history in the car while I'm about downtime. I've been listening to a lot about Hitler. And when you compare people like Donald Trump, people like Charlie Kirk, people like Candace Owens, people like CJ Pearson, people like us who we've been called Nazis. Like, go
100%.
figure. But when you really look at it, Fetterman is absolutely right. It is speech like that, comparing people. Matter of fact, do you know about that? The Hitler. Do you know about what happens in an online forum? You know what that law
Yeah,
is
we
called?
did this, man. Yo, Ali, we did this like 37 times. We don't have to do it again. Y'all know this by now, right? We've done that 30,000 times on this show already. Like where if you bring up the Hitler argument, like Hitler is going to come up in an online argument, and that's where you officially lose the argument. Once you bring up Hitler, you've lost the argument.
Yeah, it's called Godwin's Law. It's an internet adage asserting as an online discussion grows longer, the probability of a comparison involving Nazis or Hitlers approaches one. Godwin maintains these comparisons often trivialize the Holocaust, etc. But that is where we are. That is like the first line of defense at this point.
No. And the other one now is, well, the Epstein files. The Epstein files. Epstein files. And,
Joe, have you seen this?
Okay, what?
Have you seen this craziness where people are like, Charlie Kirk is an actor and they paid him to do this? It wasn't real. They paid him to do this so that it can outshine the Epstein files because Trump is in the Epstein files. So he tapped
listen, and that doesn't exist on just the political left. There's some of that nonsensicalness on the right too. There's some of our own are just off the deep end, buddy.
It's I don't have another word. It's batshittery. No matter where it comes from.
Ain't no two ways about it. Yeah. Yo, that is a new word. That is a new word right here on the Urban Conservative. Yo, listen, the fact of the matter is that this level of that is out to lunch. That exists on both sides of the aisle, right? And it usually revolves around the same things. Like that group of people is a conspiracy. Like Donald Trump, that didn't really get shot at. That didn't really happen. That wasn't his real ear. That wasn't this. That wasn't that. It's like at a certain point, there's a group of people, you can't take them serious, right? And listen, I got friends in hip hop and brothers and sisters in hip hop that I consider friends. But the minute they enter a political conversation, it has the potential to ruin a relationship because, look, I could go through your timeline, and your timeline has nothing to do with studying anything about anything. It has nothing to do with reading anything about anything. There's no political activity about anything. There's no you helping anyone do anything. And then you want to enter the political arena and you don't read, you're not engaged, you just watch CNBC and MSNBC. How do we know that? Because your talking points and your point of view. When you call Charlie Kirk a racist, that tells me that you're part of an extreme part of the left, whether you're black, white, brown, yellow, green, I don't care. Once you call that man a racist, you show your card that you haven't taken the time to actually listen to anything he said that hasn't been clipped to make you think that.
So
This goes to the very fine people argument.
correct.
If I hear that one more time, like I'm almost gonna want to bring that person into the octagon for 5 minutes because it's like, what are you like? Can you just play the next 8 seconds of the clip?
Well, there's that, and then okay. Before
But
we
the
wrap
same,
this
but the
up,
same mechanism, but the same mechanism applies, is what I'm getting at. So if you take the very fine people argument and you cut the video off at Donald Trump promotes white nationalism. Yeah, there's very fine people on both sides, and then stop the clip. You can't tell some of these people that's not what he said.
yeah, I just went through this with the Donald Trump clip where he's saying they were born for crime and they're never going to be any good. And I went with the difficulty in this, and this is why I'm glad we kind of taken this opportunity to say this. It's the lowest hanging emotional manipulation that you can get to say somebody's
Right.
racist. And I had
So
somebody at the
hold
house
up,
here.
Ali. Let me ask this question before you tell that story. Let me ask this question.
Yeah,
Does anybody recognize or realize this man dropped out of college, started Turning Point USA, and turned that into a 90+ million dollar organization? Like, we're not going to respect his business acumen. We're not going to respect that a young American male dropped out of college and started a business and made that a successful outlet and turned that into a successful business. That's where are we at when we're not respecting that right there?
now you
But
gotta
anyway, go ahead. I'm
respect that.
sorry. It just,
No,
yeah,
but in a
I thought
nutshell,
about that.
what I think this comes from, because I had a friend here at the house and we were talking about some other stuff, and this came up, and I pointed out to him that these days, for certain people in whatever community, when somebody confronts you with the truth and you're not prepared for it, the visceral, immediate response was, what you just said was racist. What you just said was hateful. What you just said was spiteful. And that because we've been softened. I used another word. We've been catified, if you know what I'm saying, to where you can't say anything to somebody that might make them uncomfortable. And the fact of the matter is, nothing good from the perspective of growth comes from comfortable conversations. It has to be uncomfortable. In order to make change, sometimes you got to be willing to be confronted with things about yourself that are uncomfortable. And I think that's the biggest part of what Charlie was trying to do. And he did it from a way, every video that I saw, it was never from a place of hatred. It was never from a place of disdain. It was always from a place of, I want you to come this direction. I want you to recognize, I want to have a good faith dialogue. So on the tail end of this,
Yeah,
folks, man,
let me add, let me suggest this. I've watched a lot of those videos, and me and Charlie Kirk differed on some points of view. And there's not one message, one post on my timeline where I took the energy to say anything negative about him because I don't agree with him on everything. Just think
right.
about that. Like, what do you have going on in life that you have the time to comment on every single thing you disagree with? Just think about how exhaustive that is. And we're talking about a group of people who really seriously we're leaving the world to. What kind of world will this be when we have these type of people running the world? The people that have no moral scruples, the people that have this sense of entitlement, right? So it's very simple. There's now thousands and thousands, millions of people leaving the Democrat Party. There are celebrities leaving the Democrat Party. There are sports figures leaving the Democrat Party. There are regular black people in the inner city that have been part of the Democrat machine that are leaving the Democrat Party. And to be honest, I think that's a good thing. I also think that whether they become unaffiliated voters or come on over to the Republican side of things, I still think that bodes well for our country, that people are snapping out of it slowly and surely. But the
Right.
last 10 years, the Biden administration, the Obama administration, the absolute infiltration of academia, of our schools, of our levers of education, been a very concentrated effort to shape the thought of young people, and it's been nothing but destructive, absolutely destructive. Not everywhere, but those institutions that are promoting this far left ideology, I really think we need to evaluate and have a better way of getting teachers in the schools and having educators, our educators picked, because this is just absolute insanity. So I'll leave it there. And like I said, we'll continue to pray for Charlie Kirk's family, for his
That's
loved
right.
ones, for his friends. We'll continue to do that. And we'll continue doing what we do here on the Urban Conservative, which is spread conservative values and policy ideas to our urban communities and all our communities around the country. That's what our mission is. You can support us, $TU Conservative on Cash App. You can support us by visiting the website, tuconservative.com. Also, once again, you can support my campaign for Suffolk County Legislative District 2 at soto4suffolk.com. And that's what we got going on. Make sure to stay in the loop with us. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at TUC Twins, on YouTube at TUC Twins, and everywhere you listen to podcasts as the Urban Conservative. That's what you got. It's been a Monday night. This has been the Charlie Kirk episode. For my twin brother, Dual Ali, I'm Raheem Soto. This has been that episode. Be well, ladies and gentlemen.